to begin the March
I don't think
18th.
your mic is on, Tammy.
Can you hear me now? Good morning. We're about to begin the March 18, 2026 regular meeting of the Harris Central Appraisal District's Board of Directors. Members of the public wishing to address the board should have completed the sign-in sheet at the back of the room. You will be called upon to speak in the order that you signed in. When you begin, please state your name. Mr. Chairman, you may call the meeting to order.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jim Robinson, Chairman of the board, and I hereby call the March 18th, 2026 regular meeting of the Harris Central Appraisal District Board to order. The time is now 9:30 a.m. We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll go ahead since we rotate that, and I'll take my turn at it, and I will lead it this morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We'll now have the recognition of employee awards and employees of the month. And Mr. Sullivan, would you honor us by assisting with that this morning?
Sure. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good. Well, I'm very excited today. We have 7 service awards totaling up 105 years of service. It's amazing. We got 5 10-year awards, 1 25-year award, and 1 30-year award this month, so that's great. Plus 4 of our employees of the month, so let's get into them. Our first service award recipient speaks 5 languages. She's from Cochin, India, got her degree there, earned a master's degree as well in English, got married, moved to the United States, and became a financial analyst and an adjunct professor until a former HCAD employee told her about the district. She began 10 years ago as an appraiser 1 and is now a valuation analyst 3 in residential. She enjoys traveling, baking, and gardening. R.J. Batt. Thank you. All right, our second service award recipient is from the Philippines. Went to high school there, migrated to California, met her husband, and followed his job to Houston. She attended Prairie View A&M, got a bachelor's degree in business management, worked for Methodist Hospital in patient registration, and her husband was working near our building and suggested that she apply here so that they could have lunch together. It's a good reason. She was hired as an appraiser 1, been here 10 years, and is now a consulting appraiser 3 in review appraisal, and still hasn't had many lunch dates, so we got to work on that. She enjoys traveling and gardening. Coming up, Amy Klein. Congratulations, Amy. Absolutely. All right, our third service award recipient was born in Houston, went to Northbrook High School, attended the University of Houston, and got a bachelor's degree in mathematics. Before HCAD, he worked in retail for my favorite store, HEB, for 15 years, enjoyed his job but wanted a better work-life balance. Found HCAD online and gave us a try, continued part-time at HEB for another 5 years, and then gave it up because he wanted to have his weekends off. Worked his way from appraiser 1 to appraiser 4 and devoted his 10-year tenure entirely to the residential division. He enjoys watching movies in his spare time. Coming up, Francisco Flores. All right, our next service recipient joined us 10 years ago, a Houston native, attended Klein Forest High School and went to Sam Houston University to get his bachelor's degree in industrial technology. He worked as a wine distributor for 12 years, but wanted to put his degree to use and went into oil and gas for 3 years, but it was a bad time for the industry. He reconnected with an old friend, HCAD employee Eric Young, who told him about the district. He began as an appraiser 1 and is now an appraiser 4 in residential. He enjoys any time with his wife, he can say, whether that be road trips, concerts, or yard work. Jason Lind. All right, our next recipient was born in Vietnam, came to the United States, went to North Shore High School and attended the University of Houston, got a BS in hotel and restaurant management. He worked in the restaurant industry and then switched gears to go into car sales at Sterling McCall. A friend ended up telling him about HCAD, started as a field appraiser in commercial and has worked his way through the ranks and is now a manager in the commercial division. He spends his free time traveling with his daughters, Chow Tran. All right, our next service award recipient was born in the Big Apple, went to Sharpstown High School, attended the University of Houston, and got a BS in occupational technology and a BS in information technology, and graduated magna cum laude with both of those degrees. Awesome job. Worked as a graphic designer at U of H, then became a supervisor there. His father encouraged him to work in government. He found HCAD through the Texas Workforce Commission 25 years ago, began as a programmer analyst in IT, and is now an analyst 2 in IT. Lawrence Lewis. All right, so this is the big one. I'm excited about this one. Our final service award recipient has been with us for 30 years. She was born in Houston, Texas, went to Jack Yates High School, and attended DSU Training Institute. She briefly worked as a temp at Texas Children's Hospital, and then remembered HCAD from a job listing she received after finishing clerical school. She was hired on in 1996, worked in field operations, and is now an Admin Tech Specialist 3 in ARB operations. She enjoys reading and crocheting. Tanoa Parker. All right, so each month we recognize Employees of the Month for outstanding performance. They need to show overall dependability, a congenial work environment, participate in special projects, have quality and proficient work, show leadership and teamwork, and just overall have exceptional efforts and contributions. So our first Employee of the Month was born in Houston, went to Cy-Fair High School, got an associate's degree from Lone Star College. Before HCAD, she worked as a medical assistant and found the district just through word of mouth. Today, she works as an Admin Tech Specialist 3 in INA. Her nomination states that she is the go-to employee for priority assignments and special projects as she consistently rises to the occasion and delivers high-quality results. Come on up, Reina Arroyo. All right, Roland had nicknamed this next awardee the voice of HCAD. I think y'all already know who it is because it's his voice that callers hear on HCAD's phone system. He grew up in Nacogdoches, Texas, went to high school there, studied at the College of Biblical Studies and Champions Real Estate School. He held managerial positions in retail and fitness and once worked for the Houston Rockets. He found HCAD through HCAD employee Byron Stanley. He today contributes to HCAD as an Admin Tech Specialist 4 in INA, and his nomination states that he delivers first-class customer service in person and over the phone and extends that same level of professionalism and courtesy to colleagues. Thank you, Marquita Maxey. All right. Our third employee of the month was born in Mexico and migrated to the U.S. as a toddler. She went to Barbara Jordan High School, attended the University of Houston downtown, and got a bachelor's degree in enterprise information systems. She found the district through her parents and currently works as an appraiser 4 in commercial. She's described as dedicated and attentive to detail, and her nomination states that she manages some of the most challenging accounts in the field and in hearings and balances various special projects. Yara Romero. All right, our final employee of the month was born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas. Went to Arlington Heights High School there, attended Texas A&M University, got an agricultural economics. I wasn't sure if we were going to get some whoops out there. Moved to Houston after college, worked as a fee appraiser for 4 years until the economic downturn. Found HCAD through a friend and gave us a try. He's now an appraiser 4 in the arbitration group in review appraisal. He's acknowledged for his dedication, positive attitude, and contributions. This year, he settled a record number of arbitration cases and volunteered to cover last-minute hearings. Thank you, Drew Warner. We'll go ahead and head up for a photo.
Well, congratulations to all of our, both the service award winners and employees of the month. We've now finished the part of the meeting that doesn't require a quorum to be present, and the rest of the meeting does, so I've moved the roll call to this point. Kathy Bluford Daniels. I understand Ms. Daniels is en route and caught in traffic. Tracy Jones.
Present.
Martina Lamont Dixon.
Present.
Erica McCrutchen. Present. Melissa Noriega. Present. Annette Ramirez. Ms. Ramirez is in the building, but she's teaching today, so she's absent from this meeting. Kyle Scott.
Present.
Mike Sullivan.
Here.
Myself, Jim Robinson, present. We'll now take comments from members of the public who have signed up to address the board. We have a total of 3 people who have signed up, and I will call you in the order in which you did register. You'll each have 3 minutes to address the board. Please, we'd urge you to keep track of the clock, but Ms. Guerra will also advise you when you have 30 seconds remaining. and also when your time has expired. At that time, we'll thank you for your participation, and we'll call the next speaker. First person to sign was Mr. Steve Flores. And Mr. Flores, if you would come up and identify yourself for the record, and then you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Chairman Robinson and members of the board. My name is Steve Flores, and I'm a property taxpayer and the authorized representative for the HCAD account located at 6640 Ridge Drive in Crosby. I'm here today because this board has authority over a pattern of conduct that is costing Harris County taxpayers money and blocking the citizens' rightful request to public records. The first issue is I have filed multiple public information requests with HCAD under the Texas Public Information Act since February of this year. Every significant response has come from your outside counsel, Olson & Olson, billed to Harris County taxpayers at up to $175 per hour to strategize against a citizen's public records request. Olson & Olson is serving as HCAD's TPIA compliance counsel while obstructing records release at public expense. This is definitely a conflict of interest. The second issue is tax year 2024 remains uncertified for the subject account. Tax year 2025 was quietly certified on February the 6th, 2026 with no notice to the current owner or authorized rep. The owner of record on both years is still Louis Obadiah, a deceased prior owner, despite a deed recorded in this county since June of 2022. My 4 specific requests this morning are: 1, process TPI requests internally, on time, and without routing through Olson & Olson. 2, certify the subject account for tax year 2024 and correct the ownership record. 3, conduct an independent review of Olson & Olson's TPIA billing and documented conflict of interest. 4, provide a written response to my board complaint served via certified mail, return receipt, and confirmed delivered to all 9 members and the TLO. My written statement has been distributed to each board member. The various state agencies and 2 legislative offices have been notified. And finally, 2 statutory TPIA deadlines expired today. Both are Olson & Olson handled requests for Olson & Olson's own billing records and contract. I will file OAG complaints tomorrow if responses are not received. I respectfully ask this board to take action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Our next speaker is it Nia Murray? Ms. Murray, please give your name for the record, and then you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Nia Murray. I work as the program coordinator with Neighborhood Recovery Community Development Corporation. We have partnered with the Harris Central Appraisal District for almost 10 years now to provide educational information about property taxes, the appraisal process, how to protest, and things like that for almost 10 years now. The very first workshop that we coordinated with you guys was, we probably had maybe about 48 people that attended, and that was in the OST South Union area. From that time, I guess word kind of got around that we were on the list of some of the folks that were, coming out and having these kinds of presentations. Over the years, we have collaborated and created a coalition of what we call a month of service, or AMOS. AMOS on a monthly basis offers these different workshops that where we kind of pool a lot of our initiatives to get as much information, as much accurate information as we can out to the community that we all serve. So with the Harris Central Appraisal District, with our office, with Neighborhood Recovery, the City of Houston's Department of Neighborhoods, the tax office, 3 legal service organizations, which include Lone Star Legal Aid, the Earl Carl Institute, Texas Legal Services Center, Houston Volunteer Lawyers, and now the Harris County Attorney's Office. So we know that there's still a lot of people out there that get misinformation, especially in the era of social media where we are. Everybody out there knows more information about what happens in Texas except the people in Texas. So in our partnership, we make sure that we try to get as much information out to the public as we possibly can so that they'll know where they need to go for particular resources, for particular services. And through that partnership, especially with the Harris Central Appraisal District, our numbers have gone from 48 people almost 10 years ago to now reaching almost 116,000 people in 2025. So through this partnership and through the thanks of Ms. Mabel and her team, it has been a phenomenal interest of people that we have gotten and that we have been able to get information out to, especially as it relates to appraisals, the protest process, because you'd be surprised as how many people that still don't know about the different exemptions that are out there, how to take advantage of them, how they can save them money, because a lot of them still think that they have to pay exemptions back, or that the county is out to take their property, and stuff like that. So with that being said, I'm so thankful for the partnership that we have had over the last 10 years with the appraisal district, and hope to continue that partnership moving forward. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Murray. Next speaker is Mark Gollaby. Mr. Gollaby, if you would identify yourself for the record, then you have 3 minutes.
All right. Yes, Board. Good morning, and thanks for the opportunity. My name is Mark Gollaby. A few months ago, I recommended the Board investigate adopting 3-year appraisal cycles instead of the annual cycles. As I campaigned across Texas, I found more central appraisal districts are adopting extended cycles, one being Johnson County, which did adopt a 3-year appraisal cycle. I discussed with the chief appraiser how that fit with the comptroller's property value study, and he mentioned that that was still in the works and to be determined. In addition, I assume the district is aware that the governor is including in his property tax reform package going to a 5-year appraisal cycle. This will, of course, require legislation to change the 3-year cycle law and must allow to accommodate the comptroller's role in the biennial property value studies. There are a number of advantages to adopting a longer appraisal cycle, one of which is taxpayers not seeing a constant uptick in their value every year they get their appraisal. The other, which is even more significant, is the ability for Harris County to split the county into 3 sections, effectively reducing the annual expense of appraisals by 2/3. In one of the meetings, it was deeply discussed all the time, and expense of handling protests every year. Think of reducing the workload by 2/3. No one anticipates a true 1-for-1 reduction, but it allows the appraisal district to also bring in-house some of the more complex appraisals that are currently being outsourced to consulting firms. The governing agencies that the 6 board members are selected and the 3 elected that represent the taxpayers all have a vested interest in a plan with such significant cost savings in the administration of the Central Appraisal District. As an advocate for the Texas taxpayers, it would be nice to think that these savings would be applied to the taxpayers. So that concludes my remarks. I appreciate the time, appreciate the opportunity to visit with you.
Thank you, Mr. Gollaby. We'll move now to reports by committee chairs on their latest meetings, and I will first recognize Director Scott, who chairs the Budget and Finance Committee.
Sure, thank you. So the Budget and Finance Committee met in full last Monday to go over the expenditure items on today's agenda. I want to draw the board's attention to one item in particular that I think deserves some explanation, and that is agenda item 12. So agenda item 12, at the last board meeting, we had approved a contract for after-hours security service. The Budget and Finance Committee was given 2 choices in light of one of the bids that we received and that we had granted the contract to. It appeared that there was some confusion or maybe an intentional lowball offer that the board approved, and we were given the option of either A, going out for RFP again and allowing everybody else to reapply, or going with the second place finisher on the original RFP. There was some sense that maybe the original awardee was not did not respond to the RFP in good faith, and there might have been an intentional lowball offer. So it's the committee's recommendation that we go with the second awarded contract application, who is our current security service, and just continuing their contract for another year.
Right. Thank you, Kyle. Next, recognize Director McCrutchen, who chairs the Evaluation Committee.
Thank you, Chairman Jim. First of all, I want to thank all the committee members that worked so hard with Chief Appraiser Adam in helping us to redo some of the policies in our policy manual. Director Sullivan, thank you, and Director Dixon, thank you. Chairman Jim worked really hard. We just put together an updating. We're in the process of updating some of the policies relating to the board members and relating to some of the updated policies for Harris Central Appraisal District. So it's running real smooth, and so some of it hadn't been updated for a while, so we're updating it based on the statutes that have come down from the state. So I appreciate everyone who's working to make this happen and make it a smooth transition, make it possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McCrutchen. Director Daniels is caught in traffic, and we will defer the.
I have her report.
Oh, you're going to give the report?
Yes, sir.
All right.
That's all right. The ARB Appointment Committee interviewed applicants for the 2026 Appraisal Review Board on February 27th and March 13th. From those meetings, the committee will recommend 15 applicants for the board to review and approve in executive session for appointment this month. All applications will be available during executive session for board members to review and discuss. And that's
Thank
it.
you.
And that was
Thank
our
you very
last
much.
session for this
All right.
cycle.
And then, if she's not here, will you be making the motion then when we reach that point on the agenda later
Yes, sir.
for the appointments, in case Kathy doesn't make it?
Yes, sir.
Good, thank you. All right, any questions for any of the committee chairs? If not, we will move to the consent agenda, and I will read the caption for each one of these before we vote. Item 7A is discussion and possible action to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 18th. 7B, discussion and possible action to review and approve a third-year renewal of a 3-year contract for support and subscription of VMware licenses from DIR vendor Accudata Systems in the amount of $455,300, which is a 3.6% or $17,000 increase from last year. 7C, discussion and possible action to review and approve a third-year renewal of a 3-year enterprise agreement for selected Microsoft software licenses with the interlocal purchasing system TIPS vendor Software One in the amount of $839,000. This is a 4.3% or $39,000 increase from last year. 7D, discussion and possible action to review and approve a 1-year renewal of the subscription to TrueRoll software for automating the processing of exemption applications received electronically and on paper from sole source vendor TrueRoll in the amount of $335,000, which is the same as last year. Item 7E, receive the district's monthly financial reports, and 7F, receive report on payments of bills, payroll, and transfers of funds between line items, and discussion and possible action, if any, are related thereto. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved with one correction. I believe on item 7B, I think you said 455,300, and it's 445,300. So just the one correction, but so moved.
Okay, yes, it's 445.3. That's correct, thank you. All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have both a motion and a second. We will simply do a voice vote on this one. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. Move now to the action items. The first item is item 8, which is discussion and possible action to review and approve a new 3-year agreement for licensing and support for the district's remote access solution through a DIR vendor, Unique Digital, and to authorize first year's payment in the amount of $122,000 or 13%, which is a $14,000 increase from last year. And we'll recognize Mr. Bogard.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. This is for a new contract with our software that provides our remote access capabilities. And of course, part of the need for this software is cybersecurity. And I'm going to bring up Beata Casper to go over the item, but before I do that, I just want to really thank her and recognize her and her team publicly. Over the past 2 weeks with the conflict overseas, we've seen a huge increase in the amount of attacks on our cyber infrastructure, up to 1 million hits a day that they're receiving, and they're doing a fantastic job on protecting us, and just wanted to publicly tell them thank you. So Beata, go ahead with the item.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
And you might talk a little bit because you're not coming in very well.
Okay, is that better?
That's much better.
Okay. As Mr. Bogard mentioned, I'm here today to have a discussion and possible action to approve a new 3-year agreement for licensing and support of the district's remote access solution. The access solution that we are using currently was implemented first in 2020 as part of the district's attempt to cybersecurity program to maximize our efficiency, to minimize all the risks associated with it. The system also reduces complexity of management. It improves visibility into user access. It does remain to be one of the best currently. It only transfers the keystrokes through the system, and that minimizes the chance of getting infected by any type of malware or ransomware from a remote location. And it also allows us to give access to specific applications only, rather than giving access to the whole network. Effective on April 15 in 2026, the provider of our solution changed their legacy licensing model, and now they are introducing a brand new cloud-based model, and that transition forces customer to buy a bigger, more expensive bundles. In some cases, we've seen some of the customers' increases be anywhere between 20 to 200%. With us entering into a 3-year contract, we are guaranteeing the same pricing over the term of the 3 years. We're getting additional 5% discount on a cost, and it pretty much locks us in from any type of unexpected vendor increases. The funds have been budgeted, are available in the Information Technologies Division budget, and with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from the board? If not, we could entertain a motion to approve item 8.
So moved.
All right, what motion, Mr. Scott?
Second.
All right, we also have a second. Any further discussion? If not, we'll do this one by roll call. Ms. Blooper Daniels, Tracy Jones. Aye. Ms. Lamont Dixon.
Aye.
Ms. McCrutcheon.
Aye.
Ms. Noriega.
Aye.
Ms. Ramirez is absent. Mr. Scott.
Aye.
Mr. Sullivan.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 9 is discussion and possible action to review and approve a 5-year modification to existing Eagle View aerial imagery contract to include sketch inspect in the amount not to exceed $300,000 annually, and 1 year 2030 current contract extension on that expiration date, so that the expiration dates are all aligned. We'll recognize Mr. Bogard for this one.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. This next item, I'm excited to have Byron come and speak on it because it's really a reflection of HCAD's value of innovation. Byron is new to his role as the residential associate chief appraiser, and he recognized that we were having trouble being able to meet our statutory requirements as far as reinspection of properties. So he took it upon himself to talk to other appraisal districts throughout the state and found a technological solution instead of just hiring up more people to do it like we've done in the past. So I'm very proud, Byron, of the work that you've done on this, and please go ahead and present it to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Bogart. Good morning to the chair of the board, also to the other board members.
Good morning.
My name is Byron Stanley. Like Mr. Bogart was saying, when I took over this role, I was immediately faced with a challenge. And that challenge was to get in compliance with the International Association of Assessing Officers standard on mass appraisal. This standard requires us to do an inspection at least once every 4 to 6 years for all residential property within the county lines. As you might imagine, dealing with a district of our size and the accounts we have to manage with our ever-increasing hearing season, as well as the amount of accounts we have to visit for permits, this is a difficult task. So I immediately started reaching out to other districts that are large like ourselves to see what did they do to get in compliance and stay in compliance. Doing so, I spoke to the director over or appraisal from HCAD, as well as the deputy chief from Fort Bid CAD. After those discussions, it became very obvious that we have to embrace technology to get in compliance with this mandate. That led me to actually reach out to our vendor, EagleView, and talk to them, discuss what options they had. And during those conversations, they described a technology and software they have called Sketch Inspect. Sketch Inspect is a software that takes our information in regards to our sketches in the system, and it superimposes that image over the images they provide. And it can change any discrepancy. It can check and to detect any discrepancies or changes in our sketches, and flags us to actually review those and update that information. So to look farther into that, we actually did a proof of concept with them. We delivered roughly 16,000 accounts to them, and they did an inspection, ran the software, and upon completion of that, we had 12,000 or 74% of the accounts that actually came back as what we call matches. Those are accounts that are deemed inspected, and we no longer have to do any other additional inspection on there until it's time to do it again. Currently, we conduct inspections with a team we have in-house. Roughly about 90 individuals do inspections through one or two ways. They do that through what we call area reinspection, looking at every account individually on its own, measuring each most significant wall of that account, and checking off once it's done. Or we do what I call boots on the ground. We go door to door, measuring the homes from exterior and checking condition on any changes in that property. Last year, my team did a phenomenal job with that. They were able to complete a little over 186,000 accounts that method. However, with Sketch Inspect, selecting roughly about 260,000 accounts to be inspected, and we can assume or estimate we'll get the same results back. After 3 months of waiting for them to deliver those results, we can supersede that number and be at 187,000 accounts in about 3 months inspected. Due to the results of the actual demo we ran this morning, I'm requesting that we make a modification to the current EagleView contract that we have. We already have actually budgeted the funds in this year's budget for Sketch Inspect. And like I was stated earlier, those funds will not exceed $300,000 annually. At this time, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those for you.
Thank you, Byron. Do we have any questions or comments from board members? This is really a very practical solution, and HCAD traditionally over the years has, when possible, has used technology to save on having to hire additional people, and I think you're to be commended for finding this solution. All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
All right, we have a
Second.
motion. Was there a second?
Second.
All right, we have both a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call. Ms. Wilford Daniels, Ms. Tracy Jones.
Aye.
Ms. LaVon Dixon.
Aye.
Ms. McCrutchen.
Aye.
Ms. Noriega.
Aye.
Ms. Ramirez. Mr. Scott.
Aye.
Mr. Sullivan.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All members present vote aye. The motion carries. Item 10 is discussion and possible action to review and award contracts for the modernization of the boardroom for the Appraisal District's headquarters building here at 13013 Northwest Freeway. We recognize Mr. Bogard.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I'm going to have Teresa Paul come up and lay this out. I know we've generally gone over this in executive session, but she thinks that we can get through it without hitting any security details. So let's go ahead and we'll try to do it here. If we end up having questions that pull us into executive session, we can handle it there. So go ahead, Teresa. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Staff has received final bids from vendors on the boardroom remodel project, and construction drawings have been completed. During the discussion item last month, board members were presented with construction cost, audiovisual cost on the project. Questions and recommendations were addressed, and staff is ready to move forward to award the contracts. For construction, staff recommends Virtue Construction Partners to be awarded a contract in the amount of $255,889. For the audio-visual portion, staff recommends Ford Audio-Visual Systems to be awarded a contract in the amount of $335,064. Staff is also adding an additional $10,000 for a management staff seating area recommended by board members. The total cost of the boardroom remodel project is $600,953. The proposed timeline for the project is 6 months. Permits, subcontracting, submittals will start in June to allow lead time for all the materials to arrive on the premises before demo starts. Construction is expected to start in July and end in September. Staff will also be delivering progress reports to the board. Rhoda Fergit is our property manager through our property management company, Colliers International. Rhoda has over 38 years' experience primarily in office space and construction management. She worked for 15 years with Yancey Hausman, which was the original property managers when we purchased this building, before they were acquired by Colliers. Funds are available in the Major Repairs and Rehabilitation Projects Fund, with a current balance of $6.6 million, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to discuss and approve?
So moved.
All right, moved by Director Scott. If you want a second. Who was the second?
Second.
All right. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah, first, I want to commend HCAD leadership and staff for really reducing the cost of this modernization project. You guys did a great job. I'm still a no on this. I still have reservations about some of the spend, which is why I'd asked previously for these items to be broken into separate agenda items. They were not, so I'm a no on the whole thing.
Okay, I would note that for the benefit of the public, the original cost of this was just prohibitive. It was gigantic. And the staff has worked with us, and we, over a series of meetings, we have pared back meeting after meeting what was included to get down just to what we need for the expanded board to effectively do its job. All right, we have both a motion and a second, and we will do this one by roll call vote. If you're in favor, say aye. Opposed, say nay. Ms. Blooper Daniels.
Aye.
Ms. Tracy Jones.
Aye.
Ms. Lamont Dixon.
Aye.
Ms. McCrutchen.
No.
Nay. Nay, all right. Ms. Noriega. You voted aye? All right. Ms. Ramirez is not here. Mr. Scott?
Nay.
Mr. Sullivan?
No.
The chair votes aye. And what does that, how does that break out?
That would be 5 for yes and
I couldn't hear you.
5 for aye,
And-
5 agree.
Okay, so the motion then carries.
Yes.
All right, thank you. The next item is to discuss and take possible action to review and approve changes to the board's policy manual by updating the policy from April 2024 to March 2026. This is an item that was thoroughly vetted recently by the Board's Evaluation Committee, but we'll recognize Mr. Bogard to further elaborate.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. With the changes from the 89th legislative session and board actions that have taken place, it was time to review the board policy manual. I want to thank Kevin and Tammy for the hard work that they did and put into this. You have in your packet a clean and redlined version as well as a summary of changes. As was mentioned earlier by Director McCrutchen, the final product was reviewed, vetted, and approved by the Evaluation Committee at their meeting on March 9th. They had several suggestions that were incorporated, and what you have now is the final product. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions? We have a motion to approve and discuss.
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? This one is not controversial, so we'll do this by just a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. All right. Item 12 is discussion and possible action for rescission of the contract awarded for security services during non-business hours to Security Guards of Texas and authorization to award the contract to the next highest ranked vendor, Universal Protection Service. This is the item that Committee Chairman Scott talked about during his report, but Mr. Bogard, would you like to elaborate further on that?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Yes, as Director Scott laid out, there was an issue with the original group that we went with. There was again, an error on their part as far as what they agreed to. I don't know if it was nefarious or not, but again, I think that there was some confusion on their part on what the ultimate payment was going to be for those off-site or off-hours employees. And so as was suggested by Director Scott, I would recommend that we go with the next group. And I have Glenn Reed available to come up and speak on it if you have any questions. If we get too much into detail, executive session, but if you have any further questions, we can answer them here.
All right. Do we have a motion to discuss and take possible action to approve?
So moved.
All right, motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, I think this one is non-controversial. Yes.
I just want to remind everyone again that we had an extensive conversation about this in the committee and felt very strongly that this was the correct action. And I just want to reiterate that for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Noriega. This one doesn't, I don't think it's controversial, so we'll do a voice vote on it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. Item 13 is discussion and possible action to review and approve the updated list of payees for which checks over $25,000 may be signed by staff. Recognize Mr. Bogard.
All right. Thank you, Chairman. As you're aware, there is a board financial policy that any check over $25,000 must be signed by two individuals made up of either the board chairman, board secretary, or the chief appraiser. However, to comply with legal and contractual obligations and avoid penalties and late fees, there's a list of around 18 vendors who HCAD staff are approved to sign checks for payment. Due to changes in our energy company, which we have managed through the Texas Public Power Pool, we need to delete MP2 Energy Texas and add Champion Energy Services to that list. The approval of this action will allow us to continue to meet our financial obligations to the new power company. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Do we have a motion to discuss and possible action to approve?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
Second. Who was the second? All right. Right, we have both a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. And this brings us to the discussion items, and begin with item 14, which is a report on the HCAD protest workshop series. Recognize Mr. Bogard.
All right, thank you, Chairman. As you know, public outreach is an important part of what we do here at HCAD. And I was actually excited to have the individual come up and speak earlier about the collaboration that we do with a lot of outside entities to make that happen. Last week, we actually had a luncheon to thank our HCAD staff that participate in our outreach programs, which directly reflect our value of first-class customer service. We had approximately 60 staff from throughout the building that spent hours, off hours on the weekends, after hours, to attend almost 65 outreach programs last year. Mabel Menifee has labeled this group as HCAD's GEMS, for GEM, going the extra mile, and that is definitely what they do. So I want to thank Mabel and Jack for the work they do, and Jack, please go ahead and go through this item for us.
Thank you, Mr. Bogard. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm Jack Barnett, Chief Communications Officer, and I'd like to tell you about our Spring Protest Workshop Series, which are part of our entire community outreach presentations that we do. First of all, I would like to thank Ms. Murray for her kind words earlier about our collaboration, and give full credit to Mabel Menifee for establishing those relationships that allow these types of things to flourish and continue. The Communications Division schedules our Property Tax Protest Workshop series in the spring to help teach homeowners about the Texas property tax system, the benefits of exemptions as one of the easiest ways to help property owners reduce their tax burden, and then teach them about the total protest process. We partner with the tax office for many of these workshops throughout the county in order to give the homeowners a complete picture of the property tax system. This year, we do have 18 workshops that are on the list, and at the workshops, we provide information about the various ways to file a protest, the different online options that are available to them for filing a protest, such as iFile and iSettle, the information to bring to the protest or the meeting to support their opinion of value of their property, the flow of the informal meetings with appraisers, as well as the ARB hearings that are done, and then the tax deadlines and payment option part of the program is covered by the tax office, which is their responsibility. We do most of these workshops in person at various locations throughout the county, such as public libraries, community centers that are through the county commissioners. We try to do at least one in each precinct every year. And then we also work with our trusted partners, such as Neighborhood Recovery CDC that Ms. Murray represents. Currently, there is a schedule posted on our website of the version that we're going to be doing. It's under About and HCAD Events. You also do have a copy in your packet of where these workshops are going to be held, and we encourage you to come to them, and we will welcome you at any of these meetings so you can see exactly what we do and how we do it, what we say about it. Thank you. I'll answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions? Go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To that series, obviously, I missed what was mentioned earlier, but I personally would like to thank Mr. Bogard, the GEMS, Director Ramirez, Ms. Mabel Menifee, who takes it on, heavy shoulders, heavy burdens, and Jack. Thank you all, because tomorrow night we're having a series with the Dean and Rep. Thompson in the far northeast, actually in that area. We're inviting everybody. So are we putting this on the website when these series are occurring? And it is available on the website?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good, because I'm still getting calls as of last night inquiring about attending these series. These series are so important to homeowners. Thank you for that valuable data. Almost 150,000 people have not filed any type of exemption, and Mr. Bogard was welcoming and pulling that information. So we appreciate that for all of you that had your hands in that. That's important. 150,000 people in Harris County that could be eligible for various exemptions that are not filing. So having a series on a regular basis to those homeowners and people still, I have friends, actually a couple of friends, I'm not going to call their names, that have nice expensive properties, and rather than file even homestead exemption, they just pay their taxes every year. They don't understand the benefits. So to have that available for people in the community to ask questions and to be able to engage with HCAD, actually, it supports what we've been asking for the last year or so, which is to change the perception of HCAD and to be available to be a friend, no matter what the outcome is, but to be friendly and make ourselves available. So I just wanted to tell you again, thank you all for your efforts, and let's just continue to provide that information where available. I'm getting requests too for additional meetings too, Mr. Chair, so we just appreciate that.
Good, thank you. And let me note that when we reach item 17, we're going to talk a little bit more about what we're doing to communicate about exemptions, which I think everyone will like. Okay, item 15 is the Taxpayer Liaison Officer report. We'll recognize Teresa Terry.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning. And good morning to all of the directors. Pleased to report to you on the activity of the TLO office since the February report. My written report tracks very closely to what was submitted to you in your board books. Of note, I'd just like to mention what is untypical about this particular report is that more than usual this time we had issues that came to my attention of folks that claimed that they did not get tax bills. Two of them came from Mr. Scott. One of them came from Ms. Lamont Dixon. And on Ms. Ferguson, Mr. Scott, what we found out was that she didn't get a tax bill because her tax bill had been requested to go to her mortgage company. But so the tax bill went to the mortgage company, and the mortgage company actually made the tax payment to the tax office. The other one that you had was a gentleman who had not paid his taxes for 5 years. There was no indication that he had not been receiving tax statements from the tax office. We researched that thoroughly, and he's been made aware that that's the case. So I'm sure he will probably try to, and I think he said that in his original complaint, he was going to try to make an arrangement to pay the taxes on a payment plan. So hopefully he was able to do that. Ms. Lamont Dixon, Ms. Sombera, one of the two that she brought to my attention and I communicated back with her was a gentleman, Mr. Perez, and he said that he didn't get tax bills for 24 and 25. We researched that, and there was no evidence that they hadn't been sent out. We checked addresses and those kinds of things. And so he accepted that. She got back with him, and he paid the taxes, and I verified that on the tax office website. So he's good. Okay, so we're not sure what this is. The wave of people who claim that they don't have they didn't receive the tax statement. The tax office has a frequently asked questions, and one of them lists that, and the failure to receive the tax statement does not exonerate you from the obligation to pay the taxes, and that's in writing there, and that's part of the tax code. In addition to the regular work associated with the contacts from property owners on issues, by the way, the issue of tax payments don't fall under the taxpayer liaison's responsibility, but since this sort of pops up and there were so many of them, I just got involved to try to get a clarification. In addition to this, the TLO office provides support to the appraisal review board appointment committee, and that took up a lot of our bandwidth over the last several months. I'm pleased to report that we have completed our last interviews, and while everybody recognizes that the judges no longer make the appointments, it's done by a committee of board members and coordinated and assisted by the taxpayer liaison officer and the deputy TLO. There are a lot of people. It's a tremendously collaborative effort to get this done. From the recruitment part, which is handled and assisted by Jack Barnett. Where is he? Jack Barnett and HR, Sally Vardy. They and their staff, we couldn't do this, the orientation and the advertisement and that kind of thing for the recruitment effort to be successful without their assistance. And once we get that on the road and bring people on through the workday process, we have the orientation and interview process, and that's assisted by audit support, HR again, and also communications. We also assist in that process as well. Once we get them on board after the interview, then we bring in budget and finance. Teresa, thank you for your staff and the support that you guys give. INA supports us by notarizing all of the documents that they bring in. A lot of what they provide to us has to, there's a requirement that this information be notarized. I want to thank Ms. Clarette Walker, who comes in, and after Judge Godwin comes in and does his oaths, Clarette picks up the baton and she notarizes, administers the oaths to everybody that comes after that point in time. ARB operations assists in producing the applications and getting them available for the ARB appointment committee, and I'm hoping I'm not forgetting anybody. IT is also involved. They always make sure the mics are hooked up and the lights are on and we got a room available. On the orientation part that takes place before the interview, I want to thank His Highness Scott Hilscher from the County Attorney's Office. He's not a part of HCAD, but he always steps up, and I think he's done this year 11 times. So that's 11 trips to the district to do this orientation in addition to his regular assignment, which is a lot of fun with the ARB. And I think I mentioned ARB operations. That group handles the ARB office duties, and their work is just, I can't even speak to all of the things that they do. And I hope I haven't missed anybody, and if I have, I apologize. But I'm trying to acknowledge everybody because I want everyone to know that the whole business of getting review board members identified, selected, processed, and on board is a major, major task. And is the ARB chairman here? I don't see Ms. Kirkland. Okay, Mr. Cohen fills in for her, and he's done a yeoman's job. He took over as secretary on January 1st, and he has done more than a yeoman's job to assist in their portion of it once we get them on board. So I just wanted to acknowledge these people as we complete this particular task for 2026. That completes my report, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Thank you, Teresa. Any questions? Yes, go ahead.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. This is my second season to watch this process roll out, and it's really staggering how many days they spend interviewing folks to be on these committees and how much support is needed and how many cases they work their way through. And so I want to thank everybody as well. It was very enlightening to me to be a part of this and watch and to sit through some of the interviews. So I appreciate it, and I think the public really has no idea just the magnitude of it. So thank you all.
Right. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And while we're right there, thank you, Director Noriego, and thank you for those accolades. Thank you to Attorney Scott Hilscher, who, of course, spends a lot of time going over our pros and cons, do's and don'ts with people that apply. But one thing, too, as I've spoken to Mr. Bogart before, and that is this process is very, very detailed. The application process, the reviewing, et cetera, as Director Noriego noted. And we try our best, we have tried our best to reach our limit, our number that we have, our goal of people that we hired for this process. It's staggering and difficult. Director Scott comes in and out of town sometimes for these meetings. Director Erica has been a trooper and being available, and we appreciate that. Appreciate everybody on the committee for those that sat in. And you all have no idea. Sometimes when we're doing these applications, we may get 10, 15 applicants that we'll approve, but when they come in, the preparation for each one of those interviews, they come in with a stack of papers this high, this thick. And we have to go through that. All the research that's done to ensure that the individuals that are selected are could be approved, possibly approved, is so detailed, and to actually witness it. Director Jones came right in and just stepped up and to the meetings asking the correct questions. So I can't thank you all enough. 11 times down here in addition to our regular scheduled meeting, but 11 more trips. And gas is high now, y'all, so we don't have to hire. We don't have to make as many more trips anymore, thank God. I was going to have to give me a Volkswagen or a scooter or something, Chair, because this is just a long way. But anyway, one thing that we did note, and I want to say this for the record, and that is for those of you that have shared with various people, as we all have, the hiring process and the fact that there were applications still being taken until about 2 weeks ago, right? Ms. T, a lot of people say that they want to work for the Appraisal Review Board. The other part of that, those applicants that are applying, we had some that applied in December, and we were just interviewing them in March. So we want to fill in that process and ensure that next year is a smoother transaction in that there's a continuous alert, a notification to those applicants, those ones that have been vetted. We want to make sure that they're getting a notice every 3 weeks or every 30 days saying we're still in the process of reviewing. Because that gap we realized was happening from that application process in December, and then being interviewed in March. If I was anybody looking for a job, I'd find me 2 or 3 jobs between then and now. So we want to make sure that we notify them that we are continuously looking at applications and stay ready, or however you want to put it, but that we'll notify you as quickly as possible when the interview process comes. That's going to be very, very important, because in that, I think from some of the questions that was asked for people not showing up for interviews was why, and some of them said that they found other jobs. So in that 3-month period, we want to know that they found other jobs or that we are still looking at them. So I wanted to add that, Mr. Chair. That's crucial. It's going to be crucial next year.
That's really a good point, because truly that does happen. And of course, you also have a situation where some people get appointed, and then they come and they find out how heavy that responsibility is, and then they drop out. So it's a continuous balancing act, and the committee and Teresa and her staff that support it have just done a marvelous job.
And I also want to thank, too, Mr. Chair, Olson and Olson, because thank you for having our scripts and everything ready for if we start getting off script or something, then they always tend to get us back on. Thank you, Morgan. I see you here today, so thank you, too, for being here as well. So I wanted to add that, because there's a lot of work, as you know, Mr. Chair, as you've set in on this process that goes into it. And I don't want people to take it for granted. I just don't want you to take it for granted at all, anyone. So I wanted to say that publicly, so that moving forward next year, then the process hopefully will be a little bit smoother. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to item 16, which is the ARB report, and we will recognize the ARB secretary.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. My name is James Cohen, the ARB secretary. Ms. Kirkland is out today. She is working with a small committee to finish proofing and reviewing our 2026 member and hearing manuals. While we're passing out accolades, she has some for you too. She asked that I share her sincere appreciation for the hard work of the ARB hiring committee in securing our ARB members for the 2026 hearing season. We recognize this is no small feat. On behalf of Ms. Kirkland and myself, We want to thank you for your dedication and your commitment. Now, to the report. During the month of February, the ARB conducted a total of 871 formal prior year hearings with 33 panels in 4 workdays. Membership as of February 28th was 147. The board has been registered and registered for the comptroller training next April 22nd and 23rd. Due to the statutory requirement, the ARB and the council will not be in attendance for the April Board of Directors meeting. As our final ARB introduction training for new hires is scheduled for April 2nd. In the executive office, we have used this time to review and revise our 2026 manuals. Manuals are being prepared to be sent to print. They will be distributed during our in-house mentoring training, April 13th through the 17th. Adoption of the 2026 hearing rules and procedures was conducted during the ARB March 6th monthly meeting. They have since been posted in every hearing room and sent to the comptroller's office, etc. Our legal counsel continues to review any and all written complaints or disapprovals. Mr. Hilscher also assists us with our monthly legal review of panel recommendations. This concludes the reading of the ARB report. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the ARB? Appreciate y'all's work. Next item is discussion of matters between the board and chief appraiser that are authorized by tax code section 6.15. And I'm going to kick that off because I asked Adam to highlight something. And to kind of set the stage for this, several weeks ago I got a call from an elected official who had a question about the over 65 tax ceiling, which can be transferred when someone with that exemption, with the over 65 exemption, moves to a different house. And I did some searching on the HCAD website, and you couldn't find anything about exemptions. There was absolutely nothing. There was no tab. There was nothing about exemptions. If you knew to go into one tab, which had a link to every application form that we had, you could find an application for a homestead exemption. But I was really kind of shocked when I saw that, and I called Adam and said, hey, let's find a way to fix it. And I want to tell you all, he and his staff really stepped up to the plate. So, Adam, we'll recognize you to talk about what y'all have done.
All right, thank you, Chairman. And I'm winging this, so we'll see how this presentation goes. But I really appreciate it. And as everyone in this room knows, I mean, the number one way that property owners can find tax relief and the way that the legislators have found is through these exemptions. They're vital. As Director Bluford Daniels mentioned to us, there's about 150,000 individuals that we've found doing a match with their driver's license and their home address that probably could get these exemptions that have not applied in reference to the homestead exemption. We do send out letters to them every month, but these exemptions are so vital for people, and I'm really trying to start making a push with the district to make sure that we are really pushing in outreach and on our public-facing, anything that we have that's public facing to try to find a way to be able to push these exemptions. Like Chairman Robinson mentioned, you had to kind of dig down into the website to be able to find the exemption information. And so I was so happy to learn I ended up contacting Beata Casper and her IT team and Jack Barnett and some other individuals and saying, hey, what can we do to really put these exemptions kind of front and center at the website? I was so pleased to learn that there was already behind the scenes a tool being developed that is amazing that I'd like to show you right now. And what it is it's our exemptions wizard. Not only did they redesign the front of the website to be able to make those exemptions more prominent and easier to find, but they created this tool. And so I'm going to walk you through real quick the way that it works. So you can see on the front of the website, we've got this new exemption wizard. So you click it to access. and it says, "Welcome to the Exemption Wizard." And it talks about the ways that property owners can lower their tax bills. You start it, and then you start filling out a list of questions. And so, for instance, we'll go ahead and go through one here right now. Do you occupy the residence in Harris County? And for some reason, okay, there we go. And you click yes, okay? Do you own that residence? Yes. The other thing neat that's here is you can hover over these different tools and click it, and it'll show you what does ownership mean, because of course it's not always as simple as whether or not you live in the house. Do you have a Texas driver's license? So we'll go through, go to the next page, and continue to answer some questions. Does your spouse receive Social Security benefits? Are you 100%, or you or your spouse 100% disabled veteran? Let's click yes on that and see what we get. Are you a surviving spouse of an armed service member killed in action? Are you a surviving spouse of a first responder? You can click on any of these items, and what ultimately is going to take place is going to get you to a list of the different types of exemptions that you may qualify for. So let's say we also have a solar panel, and again, that we've got a disabled resident or a disabled veteran in the home. So let's see the results. You click on see the results, and then what it does is it takes you to all of the different types of exemptions that you would qualify for. So as you can see here, they would qualify for their general residential homestead exemption, their solar or wind powered device exemption, partially disabled veteran or surviving spouse. And then what they can do is click the apply now button, and it'll actually take them to the online form to go ahead and fill out, add in their copy of their driver's license, submit it, sign it, and they're good to go. And so again, it's an amazing tool. I couldn't be more proud of the work that they're doing. I was so proud to hear that they were already in development of this. And I want to thank publicly Jason Mohan and the applications team, Ryan Harrison, Jasmine Escamilla, Scott Christensen, Jack Barnett, and of course Beata Casper for all of the work that they did on this to be able to make this front and center and make sure that property owners in Harris County get all of the benefits that are given to them through the tax code. And so with that, thank you, Chairman, for having me come up and speak about it.
Well, it's great work. Mr. Sullivan?
Yes, sir. Comments?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Great work here. I have a question for you, and it's only because there was a note in Ms. Terry's TLO report about someone who had wanted the solar exemption, but they had missed the filing window. So apparently there's a definite filing window and deadline. So if you click on that, I don't mean like right now, but if you click on that, does it note a deadline? Or does the application get submitted post April 31st, April 30th, and then it's automatically re-entered the next year? You kind of see where I'm going with this?
Absolutely. So, Director, I wish that I could tell you that I know what the deadline is for the solar panels.
April 30th, I think is what she had in her report.
Yeah, it's on there, but it's down in the bottom.
So it is. It's on the application here. Yeah.
Well, then if there's a deadline, pardon me for interrupting you, but there's a deadline and the application is submitted May 1st, what happens? Just thinking about what happens, does it say you missed the deadline, reapply next year? Or does it save and put it in a calendar to automatically apply January?
I don't think that it has the functionality currently, correct me if I'm wrong, to correct you and say, hey, you've already missed this deadline, reapply during this time. I do know, and again, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but if they do apply for that exemption and we get it in and it doesn't apply until the next year, we'll go ahead and have that exemption, get it in, ready to go for the previous year, for the next year. Is that correct? Okay, thank you.
Okay, very customer friendly then. So they'll miss it for the year they excuse me. But they'll be in line for it at the first available opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Does it automatically renew every year, or do they need to reapply every year?
I think that this one stays. Yes, I'm getting head shakes from the experts.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I love this. I really like this. I just have a question. I noticed, excuse me, I noticed on there that you have veterans disability. How does people with just not a veteran but do have a disability that can apply for disability status?
Right. I believe that was one of the options there. If they are,
I missed that option on there.
if they're disabled, is it on the first page, Scott? Yeah, I didn't. Let's see. Okay, let me see here.
It says, are you your spouse?
Let's see. Okay, so it's from the Social Security benefits that identifies that.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if that's going to be clear enough for some people. Is there any way that we can go in and maybe, if you have a disability, Social Security disability, because some people don't think Social Security when they think of a disability.
Right. I think that we could easily add a line there to make it clear.
And I realize it's new, and so there's going to be some tweaking that's gonna happen.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of brainstorming going on how we can improve this.
Sure.
But that's a great suggestion. We can add that.
Okay, yes.
And I would like to add actually to Mr. Sullivan's point, I feel like once you get to that form, maybe at the top it should say, if you're filing for 2025, the deadline is April 30th. Good point.
I think it's a great idea.
Can I add something to that? And also, if the deadline is April 30th, it might be a good idea that after April 30th that form can't pop up.
They still will receive it the next year, even if they turn it in. So it's good for them to go ahead and apply.
See. I got you.
That's why we don't want to block them.
I got you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
We're not going to stay here, right here, this item, but I can't tell you how excited I am about this simplified version for people that are going into the system. And, I'm always an advocate for the least and the lost, right? And especially for those people that are not computer savvy, this is simplified enough that they too can have some good experiences or be able to follow this. So I'm really thank you all for that worked on this, because this is exciting. If nothing else came from this board, then the fact that we've simplified a process for people to be able to go into and utilize. So thank you all directors for having input at one time or another about the difficulties of accessing the system. So I'm excited. I'm giddy about it. Thank you.
I am too. Thank you. And it's a great tool. And again, thanks to the staff that developed it.
Very good.
Any other questions or comments about this? All right, do we have anything else that you'd like to bring up under section 6.15? Mr. Scott.
Yeah. All right. Adam, I hope you can listen while you're walking. I'm going to resurrect an issue that I'd raised 6-7 months ago.
Okay.
I still find it frustrating and a lack of good governance for the board not to have independent counsel. I would like to see a board policy that the attorneys representing the HCAD board do not also represent HCAD in litigation or other legal matters. There can be instances in where the board's interests and HCAD interests do not align. There could also be, as we've made aware of, where the legal counsel for both board and HCAD are accused of something and we're without some sort of someone to help us muddle through that. So I would like to see that reconsidered by the board as a policy.
Well, we can certainly put that up as an agenda item for discussion. And Adam, if you would, let's add that to the
Yes,
April
Chairman.
agenda.
I'd support adding it to an agenda for future discussion as well, because I support the concept and it mirrors what we do in some of our other work. For instance, at Lone Star, we have board counsel and general counsel. And then we hire outside firms when we need them for special work, such as elections. So it's not unheard of. Thank you.
And thank you for that. I know with the school board, we had this situation, but I thought that if there's correct me if I'm wrong, and I know we can talk about this for discussion later on, but if there's a controversy or an issue whereas it relates to the board and HCAD, they represent the directors. Our attorneys that we have now would represent, the directors would be priority, would take priority over. Because I understood it to be just them being our attorneys anyway, and I understand what you're saying about sometimes there are other issues as we've discussed before, but I thought the priority was always for the directors, for the board of directors. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I can tell you what's happened historically over the years. If there's been a suit which directly affected a director or members of the or members of the board of directors, uh, outside counsel was brought in. Typically, that's been through the contract that we have with the, I think, Texas Municipal League is who provides, that outside counsel in those cases. But those typically have been, the only times that outside counsel has, there have been a few on really complex litigation where Olson needed, some additional manpower and help. But typically with, actions directed against a board member of the board itself, we've brought in the TML lawyers.
So
We pay an insurance premium to cover that.
okay, so there were instances on the school board where we had to bring in outside counsel, but rarely, but occasionally, and so but that would be a one-time instance. It wouldn't be continuous that we had to have.
That's correct. It's been just in those one-time instances where there was a, specific action that, that needed a different counsel. And it was a liability question against the board.
Okay, again, we can talk about it in further discussion,
Right.
but
Yes.
Jim, in your tenure, how many times, just if you remember, how many times this perhaps may have happened already?
I can only recall 3 or 4 in the years. The first suit that was directed against board members and or the chief appraiser that I was aware of occurred in I guess it was early in 1985 when we were in the process of totally remaking HCAD, and we had 700 and something employees, and we had to let 200 or 300 of them go because we didn't even have a budget to pay them, and there were some lawsuits that were involved with that, and the Olson firm represented on those, but the handful that have occurred since then have been with TML counsel that represented us. You could count them probably on the fingers of one hand, the number of instances that have occurred.
and what's that timeline? And
That would be from about 1986 through today.
so 4 or 5 instances.
It's been a handful. All right, the board will now enter into executive session. The executive session is held for the purposes authorized by sections 551, 071, 072, 074, and 076 of the Texas Government Code. The board will retire to executive session, and the time is 10:56 a.m. right, the board has returned from executive session. It is 11:33 a.m. We have a quorum present. There was no action taken in executive session. We moved to item
Mike,
19.
your Mike.
Okay, I'll repeat all that then, since we wasn't recorded. It was at 11:33, the board returned from executive session. We have a quorum present. There was no action taken in executive session. And we move now to item 19, appointment of ARB members. And I recognize ARB Committee Chair Daniels for a motion. And she is not, she's still out of the room.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. The committee recommends approving Resolution 2026-04, which includes 13 new appointees selected for 2-year terms and 2 new appointees selected for 1-year terms. The ARB Appointment Committee has concluded its search for 2026 ARB appointees for this year. The total number of 2026 ARB members is 170, which is short of the board's goal of 190.
Right, that motion was made by Director Jones. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second by Ms. Lamont Dixon. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. All right. Item 19 is consideration and possible action to approve settlement of pending litigation, pending appeals to the State Office of Administrative Hearings, and pending arbitrations as presented. Do I have a motion to approve the proposed settlements?
So moved.
All right, moved by Director Lamont Dixon. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, seconded by Director McCrutchen. Any discussion? All right, let's just vote on that by voice vote too. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Item,
Mr. Chairman, I have abstained.
Abstain.
Abstentions. One abstain.
all right, yes, we have 2 abstentions.
I'm first. Sullivan.
Both Director Sullivan and Director Jones abstained. Okay. And I think that completes our agenda. So, yes,
Mr. Chair, could I make a quick comment about an earlier item? It's not.
certainly.
We talked earlier about the wizard, and we're all very excited about that. One of the things that I think would be helpful is if we track how many exemption requests we have, and that may already be in the works, but I just wanted to bring it up in open session to just say that.
All right. One other thing I'll mention, I didn't bring it up when we were at that earlier item about comments from the Chief Appraiser board members. I have asked Adam, I had received some inquiries from assessors about properties that have not been certified but are still several years old. And I've asked him to look into the numbers, both the numbers of accounts and the amount of value by jurisdiction, and to bring us a report at the April meeting and a plan of action to try to clear that backlog as rapidly as possible.
Yeah, thank you,
Because
Chairman.
it is, it's a burden both for the taxing units that are affected and for the property owners who are affected if there were property sitting there, and it also could subject them to omitted property penalties. So we really need to clear that stuff as quickly as we can.
Yeah, I got some preliminary numbers, and I was actually very pleased to see that for 2025, we have 99.85% of all accounts certified. So 3,000 are left out of the 2 million, but I do recognize every one of those accounts, most of them are property owners that are waiting to get some finalization. So I've asked the staff to put a plan in place. They're working on that. They're clearing the backlog, but there's some issues we need to figure out as far as how we work those holds across divisions. And so we've got some top brains over here trying to figure out a good way to do that with technology. So I'll be happy to come report on that in
Good,
April.
yeah, we'll look forward to your report in April. All right, there being no further business, we are adjourned at 11:38.